Welcome back to the program. It's Tuesday, March 12th. Great to have you with me. As always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell your friends and family to do the same and like the video, please. Checking in some economic data. Some important economic data this week is the Consumer Price Index. As always, financial markets are always focused on the Federal Reserve and what to do with interest rates, the price of money. The Fed controls the federal funds rate, the shortest interest rate on the yield curve. It's the overnight rate banks use to manage daily reserve requirements. And CPI is still elevated. Came out right on expectations of 0.4% for the month of February, a tenth higher than January. Year over year, up 3.2%, higher than expected, higher than the prior month, going the wrong direction for the Fed. Core CPI excluding food and energy, up 3.8% year over year, 0.4% for the month of February. Still elevated, still well above the Fed's 2% target. The data was released this morning by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the highlights from the data, the biggest increases year over year so far. Let's break down some categories for you. The biggest jump year over year was automobile insurance, up 20.6%. Next, we had tobacco and smoking products, up 7.1%. Next comes motor vehicle maintenance and repair, up 6.7%. Next, we have hospital services, up 6.1%. After that, owner's equivalent rent, a proxy for home owning, up 6%. Rent as the primary residence, up 5.8%. Those are the big movers. In the food category, food away from home, up another 4.5%. You go out to restaurants, you go out to fast food, you can see this everywhere. This is largely on the back of increase in minimum wages across blue states across the country. Items that dropped in price year over year, natural gas down 8.8%. Airline fares down 6.1%, fuel oil down 5.4%, gasoline down 3.9%, and used cars down 1.8%. We have an inflation problem still. Remember now, the fiscal side, federal spending, state spending, local spending are doing nothing to help inflation. Spending continues across the board in ways that is financially irresponsible, running massive deficits at the federal and state level. Only the Federal Reserve's action to increase interest rates and decisions made by you and I in terms of consumption habits have brought inflation down from 9% in 2022 to 3.4% here in 2024. This does nothing to help the Fed think about cutting interest rates sooner rather than later. So I'll have the Fed on hold for March, April meeting and their June meeting. This data does not indicate the Fed should cut rates. Checking in on the markets, S&P 500 agrees. S&P well off its highs. Down small for the day at 5,117, off of an opening of 5,127. 10-year Treasury up 4 basis points to 4.149%. Commodities lower. Gold, silver, wheat, copper lower. Dollar index up on the back of speculation the Fed will not be cutting rates anytime soon. Against the euro, dollar trading 109. Down 20 basis points, so stronger dollar, weaker euro. Dollar yen 147.83, up 90 points, so stronger dollar, weaker yen. US dollar index 103.16, up 29 points, stronger dollar. And just to sum up one more time, the CPI for the month of February, the Consumer Price Index up 0.4% for the month of February, about as expected, higher than January. Year over year up 3.2%, higher than expected, higher than in January. Excluding food and energy, CPI up 0.4%, year over year up 3.8%. Fed's on hold. They will not be cutting rates in March, their April-May meeting, or their June meeting. And one last thing I have for you is President Biden has released the 2024-25 budget, as he's constitutionally required to do, boost spending to $7.3 trillion in the next fiscal year. He pays for this increase in spending by raising taxes on the wealthy and large corporations. Budgets presented by presidents are usually dead on arrival. They're a wish list of things. As we know, for the past 15 years, Congress hasn't been able to get the budget process together anyway. So this budget will largely be ignored. But let's just say it's not ignored. Let's just say that the president actually is successful. Remember, at the State of the Union, he was talking about fiscal responsibility. He was talking about reducing deficits, reducing debt. Big, big lie. In 2019, our federal budget was $4.748 trillion. Then came COVID in 2020. The $7.3 trillion proposed would be up 56% from the 2019 level. In 2023, federal government spent $6.376 trillion. If the $7.3 trillion budget proposed is successful, that'll boost spending by 14% in 2 years. We can't live like this, ladies and gentlemen. This is fiscal irresponsibility on steroids. Unsustainable, will not last. We will pay the price. And our members of Congress and the people we sent to the White House refuse to take heed. All right, that's all I have for you today. Always try to buy American.